What's up, guys? It's Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer, and welcome back to my channel, where today we are asking that age-old question, what the hell is the point of marriage these days? With the growing numbers of young women these days choosing to remain child-free, you might wonder, what is the point of marriage these days? As we all know, it used to be the way to join families with regard to royalty and all of that kind of thing, alliances. And it was also for millennia the way ownership of a woman, a valuable woman especially, was transferred from her father to her husband. But nowadays, women don't need a man to give them a house and give them children and pay their bills and go to work and all of that. Women can do all of that. We can have our own credit cards, our own bank accounts, our own financial affairs. Women have almost the same rights as men in the US. So what is marriage these days? We know it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, but that's about weddings. Marriage is everything that happens after the wedding. And is it really necessary these days? Well, as usual, the people of Reddit have opinions they'd like to express, so let's check them out. But first, as I do on every video on this channel, I want to take a second to encourage all animal lovers out there. Please consider volunteering on site or fostering for your local animal shelter or rescue. This is my current foster, Bosky, and he is a big lover. He was a stray and was a street dog, and now he is a graduate of the Enduring Service Program, which is a program between the Austin Animal Services and the Travis State Jail for incarcerated veterans. And so he was trained for the past 3 months by some guys that are over at the jail for a time, and they did a great job with him. And now he's at my house learning how to live in a house so he can get adopted. And he's so handsome. Yes, I know. So if you love animals, please consider fostering or volunteering on site for your local animal shelter. Do your part to help save the world. Do it for the animals. Thanks. Okay, first post is from the sub Single Women by Choice, and it's from user Alarm Toe. What exactly is the point of marriage or dating men? I seriously don't see it. All of the burden of labor and vetting comes down onto women's shoulders. The other problem is, what are the odds that most women actually can find their ideal partner? Well, first thing is, there is no such thing as ideal. There's close enough to ideal, but nobody's perfect. Less and less women each year are getting married or wanting children. And of course, because look at the options of men we are left with, they either want you to do everything and exploit you or just have sex with you and leave regardless of age. She goes on, I've been dating and most of them all suck. Yeah, she doesn't say how old she is, but I have to say, I am very glad that I am 55 now, and my last relationship ended 3 years or so ago, 3.5 years. It's like something of a switch just flipped. That was the guy that I thought was going to be the guy for the rest of my life, and I was good with that. And then he let the mask slip and said the wrong thing. And I am 55, not 25. And so I was like, you're out of here. Anyway, so it's great to be old enough to just not need to go chasing dick around, you know? It's a whole different ballgame once you get over 50. It's great. And it's then that you realize what women say or what women mean when they say life begins at 50. She goes on. They all lie about wanting commitment, especially young men. They waste as much time as possible with you, and as soon as you start putting some pressure on them, it's slow down. I don't want to rush, or some ridiculous excuse not to commit to you. Either that, or you will find out at some point that they're cheating on you. Yeah, it's really amazing. Amazing how many videos are out there with married men that are on dating apps. What the hell? And then they think, you know, their wife catches them and they're like, well, I'm bored with you, you know, like you're not exciting to me, so I had to look elsewhere. Like it's the woman's fault. No one needs that kind of drama. Okay, she goes on. It's so bad out here that when I first started dating when I was 20, my first boyfriend cheated on me. I've made it abundantly clear that I wanted to get married and that I want to build a life with someone, only to end up getting cheated on and being called a dumb bitch through text. Oh, honey, I've been called much worse than that. But good for you for drawing the line at dumb bitch. Keep in mind, he barely made any money, of course, and he was just average at best, of course. I saw a thing the other day that said, I might have actually put it on my Instagram, carry yourself with the confidence of a mediocre white man. And it's perfect. Then let's say you decide to wait until marriage to have sex, and for a whole year the guy seems great, and plus he is actually what you desire. Then after all that, he one day becomes abusive. He starts slacking off and expecting you to do the majority of the work, or he just starts cheating on you because his feelings made him do it. And then the whole world blames us for not choosing better. Yeah, true. I mean, if it's a religious thing, not having sex before marriage, all I can tell you is I hope it's worth it, because you wouldn't buy a car without test driving it. And that's really what it comes down to. You know, you got to be compatible. And a lot of religious people say, well, we have the whole rest of our lives to figure it out. Yeah, but if it sucks and it just sucks and you just don't like that person, you know, it's just not going to work. You can't force it. She goes on, like, what the fuck are we doing here? What is this shit? I'm convinced at this point that men actually do not like women and are simply with us because we can make children for future companies and jobs. Ladies, what has been your experience in today's dating market? Yeah, at this point, I mean, if I so really, really wanted to have a traditional marriage with someone and, and build a life with someone, a dating app is just not where you go anymore. They're just overrun with weirdos and people who just want hookups. And I mean, I guess you would have to like go find a matchmaker or something, but I don't know. I'm thrilled that I am happily marriage free. Okay, so some of the comments on this. Objective T said, congrats, you solved the riddle. There is no point. Exactly. And the OP said, yes, I have solved this, but it's just so absurd. I knew things were bad, but I did not think this was such an extreme worldwide catastrophe to the point women actually can't date. That is a brilliant statement, because she is confirming what I have been saying on this subject, is that the internet has brought together women from all over the world. And we are finding out that it doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. If you are dating men, women are having the same shitty experiences the world over. And that doesn't mean that every man is a piece of shit. Please do not come at me saying, you know, all the stupid shit that guys say when they think that we're saying men suck. I'm not saying men suck. Some men are great. I've dated some of them. I've been with some great guys. Every guy that I've spent time with has been great, but no one's perfect. And we all have the right to draw deal breaker lines. And so the fact that it is the vast majority of men the world over who seem to be going by this same playbook, which I don't think is a playbook per se, but I do think it's the patriarchal soup we all are raised in, and the rise of, you know, these broadcast dudes like Andrew Tate and the like, that are just teaching young boys to be assholes, to be fucking clowns. And it's really sad. The OP goes on, like, there's just zero respect or morals grounding when it comes to the men. They have zero shame when it comes to these things. I really don't know if women who are married right now are being honest in regards to the men they picked either, or vice versa. All of it just looks fake and forced. Well, that's because you're judging by social media, which is fake for the most part. It's, you know, it's the best top highlight moments of someone's life. It's not reality. No one. That's one thing. I was telling my mother this the other day. Absolutely no one is who you think they are. And I brought it up because I did a video a few weeks ago that a dear friend of mine in France passed from a rare form of leukemia. And he and I had this unrequited flirtation thing that was just over email and then messenger for 20 years. And I, of course, had a whole fantasy of what he was like as a lover and vice versa, no doubt. Come to find out, this guy was way, way into the bondage and domination scene, the costumes, the masks, the all of it. And if that's your thing, that's great. Go for it. As long as everyone's a consenting adult, I don't give a shit what people do. But it's just like not for me. I mean, I kind of was into it for a brief time, long distance, because it was a novelty. But it was one of those things where I'm like, wow, you're not the person I thought you were at all. So don't ever feel like you're missing out on something because that guy that you're crushing on that seems like he's just dreamy, there's always a fatal flaw. Okay. Fanciful Cat said, men have been conditioned to think having an income guarantees them a wife that shouldn't complain or have any standards. Yes, well, that's early 20th century conditioning, and that throughout history, if you had money, I mean, that was the first thing a man would say. I make X number of dollars a year and I can pay the dowry for your daughter and blah, blah, blah. If the man had money, then he could buy himself a wife, but that doesn't fly these days. She goes on, I'm glad it's falling apart for them now. Yeah, well, it's past time. Men have been spoiled by their own systems. Marriage is an institution created by men to guarantee their paternity and inheritance lines, not based on romantic love. Very true. It's literally, if you look at it, it's a man locking up a womb so that he knows he is the only one making deposits into that womb and getting children out of it. Because if the woman is allowed to have any kind of freedom, she might run into someone she likes better than you while she's standing in line at the post office or something. Fanciful Cat goes on. Marriage is an institution created by men to guarantee their paternity and inheritance lines, not based on romantic love. The whole concept of monogamous relationship for life is artificial. I have to agree. Maybe there are some people, the rare exceptions out there, who fall in love with their high school sweetheart and are still married 50 years later and have always gotten along. I mean, good for you. If that's what you wanted, good for you. But that is not the experience of most people. And the need, or the perceived need maybe, for monogamy is the cause of so many problems. So that's why single by choice is fucking great. Oh My Quivers said this: there is no point. The little reward, example, sex, affection, companionship, etc., you get is not worth the effort you put in. Oh, it's all lovely in the beginning, but we have all seen, experienced, and read how it often ends, of course. I don't hate men. I'm quite apathetic about them in my everyday life. I just don't care about them. They are inconsequential to me, and I have zero interest in them. I can appreciate looking at an attractive man, but that's it. Yeah, certainly. Can certainly appreciate a good-looking guy. But that doesn't mean you want to go to bed with him. When men appreciate a good-looking woman, they want to take her. Like if she turned around and said, hey, you interested? Let's go. 99 times out of 100, they'd go. I won't touch him with a 10-foot pole or even communicate with him. Sounds like I'm at a zoo. I also don't care if other women want to date. You do you. Just don't come to me and complain about your man or relationship or dating issues. It's not part of my life or interest I have these days. So true. Okay, so from the subreddit No Stupid Questions, Marshy Bars says, what is the point of marriage? And that is a good question. And they say, like, if you love someone, then you love them. Marriage seems like turning love into a contract. And that's exactly what it is. Luminaria 19 Generally, it is a contract. It formally links you to another person in the eyes of society and the government. It can also be a religious or cultural ritual. Yeah. But it doesn't, I mean, when we think of marriage, we're thinking of the legal aspect of it. Because you could plan a humongous wedding and do all the decorations and everything like you normally would do and have it be a civil ceremony and not legally binding and not even like no one would even know the difference. Um, so the legal benefits of marriage would seem to be the only upside of it for women, anyway. Euphoric Stock said, yep, and if you need to break the contract, there are legal consequences. No matter how much divorce sucks from a heartbreak perspective, it sucks even worse from the paperwork angle. Every logistical detail of the split is now the court's business, especially if you have kids. Oh, yes. I mean, weddings are a humongous business, and divorces are also a humongous industry. And the marriage is everything in between. That's the nitty gritty, difficult ups and downs of life. And people want the wedding, and then things get bad and they want the divorce. But they don't think about what's going to be going on in between. Or they do think about it and it's not at all like what they thought it would be. My saddest account says mine wasn't like that because we divided things up ourselves. We had no kids though. Yeah, I had a friend. In some states in the US, you don't need a lawyer. You can basically do your own divorce. And this friend of mine had been married for like 20 years and he did his own divorce, and it was pretty cheap as divorces go, just filing paperwork and stuff. I mean, nowadays with AI, you could totally do your own divorce in the states that allow it. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, divorce is big business. That's horrible. Luckily, this guy I'm talking about, they didn't have any kids either, so it was pretty easy split. Clap 6997. I like this one better than the mushy one above. This seems more real. I've been married for 10 years and have kids. This one is more accurate. Absolutely no difference. Just got a piece of paper. Yeah, that piece of paper is really, really heavy, though, if you have to use it. If you have to break up, it's very expensive and time consuming and heavy. Hippo 13, marriage comes with considerable legal and financial benefits. If you fall in love and raise children with someone, marriage gives you a stable legal and social structure for raising your family. Yes, and it sounds great on paper. Like, in theory, it sounds totally logical. Of course, you would want two people to come together and form a legal bond, and their families join, and that's the village, and then they have children, and everybody helps, and there's, they live happily ever after, but that's not reality for most people. And the number of people who feel bad that they got divorced, who feel like their marriage failed, is really, really sad to me. I mean, nothing is a failure as far as relationships go if you learn from it. Hippo 13 goes on, and many married couples who file taxes jointly will fall into a lower tax bracket than if they each filed individually. True. And that's why the government gives you tax benefits if you are married, to encourage you to be married, because marriage is an institution. And in the capitalist United States, it's also huge, huge business. And probably everywhere else too. Marriage is also a major spiritual life event in most world religions and cultures. And given about 85% of people around the world identify as religious as of 2024, and they do have a source, so I'm going to take their word for it. It's safe to say marriage as a ubiquitous social institution isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I would agree. Most little girls are still brought up to dream of the day they'll be the princess for a day and marry their prince and wear the big white dress and all that. It is certainly a huge tradition. And as I keep saying, it's a huge business. So no, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. But the number of people willing to get married don't want to take on the expense, and don't need to take on the legalities of it. That's the greatest thing when you are with someone, whether you're with them for 6 weeks or 60 years. If the day comes that you gotta get the hell out of Dodge, it's so much easier. If you're not legally married, you're just out. You're free agent. But it can be, I mean, obviously, if you have children together, that makes it more complicated. We all know that. But marriage, getting married for the sake of being married, which in many cultures makes you're taken more seriously as an adult. But getting married for the sake of being married, is because that's what you're supposed to do, is just never made any sense to me. Forsaken You 1092. Married people also have better mental health, better physical health, and live longer than people who are not married. I don't know if that's true. People who are married have better outcomes from things like illnesses and surgeries. Maybe. I don't know. I think it's more like a support thing, like people who have loved ones around them, whether that's a spouse or blood relatives or just your friends, have better outcomes with illnesses and surgeries. Okay, moving on to this post from the 4B movement sub, and this is by user Cultural Analysis 8019. So this post is called "So Sick of This Stupid Institution Called Marriage Leading Women to the Slaughter. So upset about what happened to Sarah Gilson." A recap for those who haven't heard. She's an influencer that posted a TikTok that Netflix would probably make a documentary about her life. And this is a TikTok trend that's going around right now. People will, they'll make a TikTok of them taking their seat like it's the documentary, and Netflix will make a documentary about my life because blah, blah, blah. And it's usually funny. Well, she posted one that was very serious. And she had just found out that her husband is a PDF file. And I can't even imagine. He apparently kissed one of the teen girls in the team he was coaching. Puke. He got upset about her post and was apparently slagging her on his TikTok. Now, I don't know how old the teen girls are. I don't know if there was more to it, if she found more stuff on his phone. There probably is more to it. I have not done much research on this case. But it was 2 weeks that her post was up. He got upset about her post and was apparently slagging her on his TikTok. And he is also an influencer, and he's got over 300,000 followers. So he's even like a bigger influencer than she is. It's not possible to see what he said or wrote because his profile is private. He sadly eventually ended up, he killed her and then himself. What a coward. This despite her having several protection orders against him and planning to leave him. And that's always when women are most vulnerable, is when you try to leave. She goes on, "I am sick of the men all over social media blaming her for her post and saying if she hadn't outed him, she'd still be alive." I mean, really? You really needed to say that? You don't know that. You don't know what was going on, what else she found out about him. I mean, who knows? But the fact that she posted about what she found, it is her right if she wants to out him, if she's got the evidence set in stone. And no one deserves to be freaking murdered. And the fact that he offed himself would just point to the fact that she was right about what she said about him. The whole thing is so sad and so absurdly common. She goes on, "I'm equally sick of the faux outrage from women about the whole thing that aren't actually going to do anything different or take actionable steps to avoid men, like going 4B, for example, quitting the dating apps, trying to be celibate for a few years. We know you're more likely to be killed by a man whom you know. Like, how aren't they getting it by now? I get it, cognitive dissonance and all, but it's so frustrating." Huntress Mark said, "Women are choosing not to know." That's a choice. Denial is a choice. That's it. Women are socialized to sacrifice themselves, and then they also personally commit to it. There's fuck all that can be done for them. I mean, that was my experience watching my mom when I grew up. She did kind of sacrifice herself so that we could have food and a roof and clothes and the facade of a happy family. But yeah, women will sacrifice themselves to keep up all kinds of facades. Get in the Basement said, a prominent example of this is just how many women willingly put their head in the sand when it comes to the extreme porn habits of their male partners. Oh gosh, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you're supposed to call it corn on YouTube. I mean, it's legal in the US. It is a business, and there are people who make their living making it, and it's regulated, and as it should be, as any industry should be regulated. But because it's everywhere now, and you can watch it for free in this thing you carry around with you all freaking day, now like several generations of boys and men have come of age with that available. I mean, I can't imagine what that does to their brain, because I have my own issues with it. I am a huge fan of watching corn. And it's caused problems. I can see why a lot of women just don't want to deal with, if it keeps their husband happy and he's home and he's on the computer, let him do his thing. But yeah, it is sad. It's a real quandary. Lady Proto, use your big girl words. It's pedophile. Yes, it is. Mitski Shuffle, I agree. Reddit doesn't censor words like TikTok. You can just say PDF file, which is what he was, and I hope that's what he will be remembered for being. Divine Goddess, I have been put on bans here for using that word and others. SS Avalon, what's with the passive-aggressive comment? Maybe she thought it would be censored, but also, who cares how she writes it? And the OP responded, thank you, that's exactly what I thought would happen. I'm mostly on YouTube, TikTok, and even on Twitter. People censor their words. All right, and finally, circling back to the single women by choice sub, this is from user Vic is Bliss. A top reason why I choose to stay single. Most men's desperation for sex is one of my top reasons why I choose to stay single. It's really off-putting, the way they center their lives around it, to the point where they're comfortable lying, cheating, manipulating, and coercing women into having sex. I mentioned in a previous comment about a voice memo going viral on TikTok. In it, a man sent a voice memo to a woman he went on one date with, stating that he didn't see the point in going to her house for a second date unless they were going to have sex. Yes, I actually did see that viral video, and it's disgusting. Like, he thinks he's being upfront, and I guess he is, but he doesn't know that just makes him fucking trash. I mean, seriously. A woman is a person, like, even if you're just looking for a casual thing, don't you want to know a person? I mean, they make these animatronic dolls now that are coming out that are probably going to replace women. So, guys, it's going to get really weird. It's going to get really fucking weird. She goes on, some men and women were praising him for being honest about his intentions. Yeah, I can appreciate that. And she could also counter with, well, I don't have sex with a guy until I have known him and been dating him for 30 days, just coming up with a number. But I have made men wait several weeks, a certain number of dates, when it's time. And the second date, I mean, dude, come on. She doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. You don't even have time to get an STD panel done. Just, ick. Just ick. Showing just how low the bar is. In this latest season of Love Island, one of the female contestants was called a grandma by a male contestant because she didn't want to have sex with him on week 2. They had only known each other for several days at this point. When the movie Obsession came out and women began to share their opinions on how the movie handled the themes of consent and autonomy, some men's immediate reaction was to defend the main male character despite him having sex with the main female character without her consent, which is grape, as we know. The entitlement men have to sex is disgusting. Yeah, it is. And he may be being honest, but he is showing what a piece of shit he is, because no decent guy would say that. Even if you have laid it out on the table right out of the gate that you're just looking for a casual hookup, you just, I think that's what women really are fed up with, is just the disrespect and the lack of basic manners. We need like etiquette class to come back into school or something. If it ever was in school, I don't know. But we need it, because these guys, they don't know what they're doing. And like I said, it's going to get really freaking weird. She goes on. The entitlement men have to sex is disgusting, and their lack of respect and decorum is cause for concern. Yeah, exactly. Can you really ever trust someone who acts like this? And have you seen or heard the terms men use to describe the act of sex itself? Cracking, smashing, pounding, splitting in half. It sounds more like a fist fight than anything else. And it really just zaps the intimacy out of the act. Who'd want to do something described this way? Well, empty-headed young guys who have grown up playing video games and not going outside and getting sunshine and all the stereotypes of these kids today. And add that the free XXX content that's widely available to them. And is it any wonder that they have no respect for women and that they are incapable of emotional intimacy? Men can and do stick it in a literal hole in the wall, so they can enjoy sex just banging body parts together. And I'm not saying that women can't, because yeah, they can. But maybe women are just more emotionally sophisticated than men, because sex is so much more hot when you have an emotional connection, when there's eye contact. I mean, the lack of eye contact with even men that should know better. Mm-mm. Mm. Oh, dear. And then Anti-Porn 707 commented, louder for the people in the back. It's the number one reason they deal with women in the first place. The truth hurts. If you were to ask men if you had to be in a relationship with a woman but there was no sex ever, would you still do it? 99% would say no. And not to be dramatic, but the idea of having to have sex with someone against my will makes me sick, and I would, hand on heart, rather commit unalive. Yeah, well, you don't have to if you don't want to, but let's be real. Women do it all the time just to get it over with, so that the guys, will leave them alone. The main reason I don't date is because I don't want to have sex. It's required in most relationships if we keep it 100% real, and I want no part of that. I'm asexual, so it simply wouldn't work. Men are always shocked that I'm single, never had a boyfriend, and when they ask why, I straight up say, because I don't want to have sex. And that's the reason you guys want a girlfriend in the first place. They go silent and never disagree with me because it's the truth. Yeah, maybe that's the answer. Like, maybe a nice older gentleman who could carry on an interesting conversation and who is cultured and intelligent and has, experienced the world, but for whatever health reason can't have sex. That guy I could probably deal with. I don't know. I'd find something wrong with him, though, too. You see it when men complain about being single. It's never, oh, I'm so lonely. I wish I had a girlfriend to make laugh and go on walks with around the park and cherish and cook meals with. Instead, it's almost always, I'm so horny. Damn, I really need a girlfriend. That tells you everything you need to know. Once your eyes are opened, you cannot unsee it again. Flux my capacitor. The male loneliness epidemic isn't about men being lonely. It's about their penises being lonely. It needs to be renamed the penis loneliness epidemic. Fair enough. Designer chair, I don't understand why they just don't have sex with each other. Most men will have sex with anything. And expensive ad pointed out they do if it's the military or a prison. And that's what I have for you today, guys. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Are you married? Have you been married? Are you happily married? I hope if you are married that you are blissfully married. And I hope that if you are not married that you are blissfully unmarried. But let me know what you think. Is the institution of marriage going to change anytime soon? What should be changed about it? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. So if you like this video, please like it, please hype it, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. There is a buy me a coffee link down there if you are so inclined. And I appreciate everybody that stops by to hear me talk shit on the internet. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.